Hi, 702. Welcome to your M3 preview. So in M1, we got together, got to know one another, did some baseline understandings. In M2, we read and got deeper into issues and then returned to our understandings and worked a little bit with our COP. And M3, now we're going to go back to your context and your own positionality as a researcher based on those understandings. This is an iterative, or sometimes called a hermeneutical approach or pedagogy, where we come to some understanding and make that explicit. Then we do something else, return to the understanding and refine it, and so on and so forth. So this is still part of this, but now we're going to add in your context and your POP and do some exercises around exploring your values and your context. So as always, check on your time and task. You'll notice here that we kind of allotted 1 hour for you to review what you did in M1 and M2 before you start your reading. We put that in purposefully for kind of a reflection of your own thinking before we move forward into the next iterative step. Your readings, the Campbell-Jones article here, is the basis of the main activity that we're going to do. So you really want to read it, and you might end up rereading it as you go through this. The other readings are also basic content, kind of getting you ready and adding to your knowledge about the content and issues, just like the readings last time. You also have choice readings. Again, you choose readings based on your own personal interest and your context, particularly for this module. All right, so one of the big things you're going to do is called a ladder of inference. You're going to do an unpacking activity. So this is about looking at your assumptions. Part 1 is pretty straightforward prompt, but I want to draw your attention to part 2 and part 3. Now, this is in conjunction with the Campbell-Jones article and will become clearer when you read it. But there are certain steps that you're going to go through, and you're going to answer or put statements into these steps in your developer notebook. Now, in the past, some students have liked to start here with step 1. Some students have liked to start at step 7, and some have gone back and forth and in between in a non-linear way of doing this. What you want to do is reflect on this and work through the ladder in any way that helps you understand the steps. It's the same thing here as unpacking with critical questions. You're going to work through this in any way that helps you. You may want to start with the step 1 that is given to you, or you might want to look at all of the steps first and start in the place that is easier for you to enter and then go back to the steps above. Any of those are perfectly acceptable. Now, this is going to be due February 5th. This is a 2-week module. You have a lot of COP meeting time in here, so we give you 2 weeks. This is the first Sunday. So you need to do this actually, not just by the first Sunday and turn it into your instructors, but you really need to do this before you meet with your COP to go over this activity. And I'll explain that in a moment. All right, your M3 Collaborate, you have a lot of collaboration to do this week. And this has to do with working through the ladder of inference, which is one of the goals. Goal 2, ladder of inference. And the other goal is you should have finished reading the Freyari text. And you're going to get together with your COP and discuss that text. And there's several prompts and things for you to do and prepare for that. Now, generally, we ask that you spend about 4 hours with your COP on these 2 goals. We don't care how you schedule them or when you schedule them. You're going to fill out this M3 COP collaboration summary template, and there's kind of guidelines for you to put in. And we'd like to see as much of your discussion, highlighted discussion, as possible. This whole template includes both goals, and it's not actually due until the second Sunday of the week, so February 12th. This template may be something that you're filling out all through the week, but we don't need to see it submitted for this until then. So remember, 2 goals. You'll prepare before each COP meeting based on the prompts. And for the ladder of inference, you will have done the M3 unpack and put it in your developer notebook before you work with your COP on the second goal here. And it doesn't matter which goal you work on first. This is entirely up to the scheduling of your COP and where all your members are at and which goal they're ready to do first. All right. In your imagine, this is related to the COP work that you do on the goal of the ladder of inference. So this is the third thing that you will do with your ladder of inference. Part 1 of this will be they're both in your notebook, but part 1 of this, just follow the prompts. It's pretty straightforward. The second part is you're going to take the work that you did with your COP and you're going to think of 3 to 5 alternative problem statements. So you're going to reframe your context based on your ladder of inference that you did in the unpack, based on the feedback and discussion you have with your COP on the ladder of inference that you did. And then you're going to take all of that and think of 3 to 5 different ways of framing things in your context. Your context is this welter of experience, and at the moment you have one problem of practice that you've defined and you've eliminated other things in your context. What we're asking here is to kind of play with problem framing from different perspectives, or using different theories, or even reframing or rephrasing a new problem related to the old problem. Any of those are fine. In here, for the 3 to 5 alternatives, they do not all have to be critical theory alternatives. We would like at least one of them to be, but the rest of them could be other areas of interest that you have thought about in your context. This is also due on the last Sunday. So this is the third step after that. So all of these steps are kind of integrated, and you want to pay attention to this when you're scheduling with your COP, when you need to get things done, and in what order the unpack, the collaborate, and this imagine will have to fall in for you. All right. Now, we have an M3 act with 2 steps. The first step will be due on the second week of the module, on a Thursday. And that first step is a flip. And we do that because we want everybody to be able to post their flips. And then the second step is responding to the flips. You do not have to respond to every single flip, but you're going to respond to at least 3 colleagues by Sunday. So to honor all of your time, you need to get the flip in, and the flip should be following these prompts here. And they're pretty straightforward. You want to kind of answer the questions. You want to talk about it in your own voice and with your own context, and how this experience, this iterative experience we've gone through, has influenced you. So these are all the prompts, and just follow them in your flip. Those are due Thursday, February 9th. And then you're going to pick 3 flips to watch and respond to. My advice here is that you've been talking to your COP. So you might pick 3 members of the class that are not in your COP. This is a whole class discussion now, and we're sharing our personal experiences, viewpoints, definitions with the entire class. And so it might be nice to engage with people that you haven't gotten to engage with otherwise. All right. Now this part, you're going to schedule your one-on-one check-in. Your one-on-one check-in with me is not until module 4, but you want to schedule that ahead of time. You'll just go here. These are the days for the check-in. If you go in, there are several times. A few people have actually already scheduled, which is great. And then there'll be some more more advice on that in the Module 4 preview that I do about what you need to do to prepare for this. So you're going to schedule it here at the end of your Module 3, but there's some preparation for Module 4. All right, that's it. Enjoy Module 3 and keep up the excellent work.